And I'm Tony.
And we are the Soultry Sisters. We're a community-based organization that empowers women to live healthy and creative lives in North County, San Diego, and recently DC.
We curate events, workshops, mixers, and meetups centered around women's arts, wellness, and sisterhood.
Our mission is to empower women to live vibrant and shine bright through creative expression and conscious holistic living.
Our vision is to create a safe space that provides women the arts and wellness resources that are affordable and accessible.
So far, we've partnered with Dancing Soul Boutique, Village Rock Shop, Carlsbad Village Yoga Co-op, and nonprofit organization Leap to Success. To find out more information about us and to sign up for our future events, visit SoultrySisters.com.
You can also find us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Soultry Sisters.
We hope to see you soon.
Hey y'all, welcome to our Soultry Sisters Hangout. We are so excited to bring you this special episode because we have some special guests for y'all.
Yes, so this week we're excited to be back with you all for a special conversation on SOULstainable Sisterhood. So we invited Chanel and Jennie of Sistainability Pod for a conversation on what SOULstainable Sisterhood means for them and what it looks like to incorporate collective healing in their community and in their journeys.
Yes, so always like every hangout, we want to start by asking you where you're tuning in from and what you are sipping on. For me, I'm sipping on some water. I've been out all day and I'm tuning in from San Diego, California.
Yes, and I'm also sipping on water. H2O because I am I don't know if I'm dehydrated. I'm just really thirsty because I have my yoga teacher training today. So that was a lot. And I'm tuning in from DC. So it's starting to feel like fall, but I'm, still trying to enjoy this time of not too cold. And I'm wearing I call them my sustainability earrings with little leaves.
Oh, cute. I'm wearing my vulva earrings. So we definitely love supporting small businesses, women-owned businesses. So definitely shout out to them. We also want to walk us through like how we want to navigate being live with y'all on here. So since we are live on StreamYard, we want to interact with y'all. So feel free to use the comments to interact with us. We're having our special guests, so we'll have some time at the end of our hangout to answer questions. And if you're watching the replay here on YouTube or on Facebook, definitely feel free to leave your comments. We always like to engage with y'all, whether it's live or after.
Yes, and if you're tuning in live, but for some reason you're catching it late or you have to leave early, the replay will be up on our YouTube channel. So definitely check out the full video there to know everything that Jennie and Chanel will share with us today.
All right, we're ready to bring on our special guests? Yes. Let's go ahead and bring them in. Hello, welcome.
Hi. How are you guys?
Good. We're excited to have you both here.
Yes, so excited. Oh, I just love seeing your faces.
Yes, let's start off with our check-in. Let us know where you're tuning in from and of course what you are sipping on.
Yes. So I am Jennie, right? And I am tuning in from Los Angeles, California. And I'm sipping on water. Just straight water. It's very dry in California, so I'm trying to stay hydrated and like moisturized and all those things.
Yeah, love it. I'm Chanel, and I'm tuning in from Long Island, New York, and I too am sipping on water today because
hi, H2O Club.
Your girl is
the H2O crew today.
Yeah.
We are hitting the fall, and we are going to stay hydrated.
Yes. Okay.
The oils and the H2O. That's how we stay glowing.
That's it. Yes. Okay. Drink water and mind your business. Okay. That's what we need to do.
So I love how two of us are repping West Coast right now, and the two of us are on the East Coast. So
yeah,
well-rounded.
So like I can like actually do it.
Like, that's how you know you're officially from the West Coast when you could. Just,
I know. I had to get it together because this is not it's not a normal hand situation I do, but we're here.
I can still only do one hand. I still can't do the right.
What do we do?
I love it. So Today, our hangout with Chanel and Jennie of the Sistainability Pod. Our conversation is going to be about sustainability, sisterhood, and we want to find out from them what it looks like to center collective healing.
Yeah, so we first wanted you both to share a little bit, well, introduce yourselves, so both Jennie and Chanel, and then a little bit about Sistainability Pod, like what it is, just for our community in case they don't already know you both.
Yes. Chanel, you want to go first?
Oh, me? Sure. So I'm Chanel. I'm from New York, born and raised. I have lived in different places though. I lived in Houston. I've lived in LA. And probably will be moving out of New York again soon. So I can like live everywhere. And I have always, I feel like, been a big advocate for like sustainable living. Obviously, back in the day, I didn't have a real word for it, but now I do know that. And I really think my time living in LA kind of really transformed. Like that's where, got a Prius, and that's where I became a vegan and kind of just like immersed myself in like the sustainable lifestyle for real. And now that I live in New York, being able to do it has just been even better, because I think before, like growing up, I didn't realize how sustainable living in New York was. And then moving here again as like a reincarnated sustainability advocate, it really has been able to just like, it just makes me so happy. Like it's like literally one of the most sustainable cities in the US. So it's like nice to be here.
Yes. And my name is Jennie. I recently moved to Los Angeles, California from New York. I am also born and raised in New York. Shout out New York.
You're a hand sign for the New York.
I don't have any hand signs for New York. I just wear it. I definitely do. But
in a horn.
But as far as my sustainable journey, similar to Chanel, I feel like I've always lived pretty sustainably, but also just didn't have a name for it, or didn't understand that it was like a lifestyle that people were looking to adapt, essentially, and like especially in this capacity. Growing up, I know like my family, we reused a lot. We also like were the family that like, when you go to a family event, we're bringing Tupperware. Like no food is wasted. And my focus is mainly in the food industry, and what that looks like for people, especially in marginalized communities, with accessibility and access to healthy foods. I'm also in culinary school. So I am in a health supportive culinary program, which I finish very soon, which is really crazy. I feel like I just started. But I am in a health supportive program. So my main focus is to bring back this knowledge to Brooklyn and other communities, just in teaching people just better ways to live, and better ways to feed themselves, and how food is healing. And if we don't start with the things that we are putting into our body, we can't really look at all the other things that we're doing. Like it starts with what we are ingesting every day. So, and I feel like that's truly like the healing. Once people understand that, I feel like a lot of things can be healed in this world.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you y'all so much for introducing yourselves and like what you do and how you started your journey, a little bit of background. So we met both of these amazing women through an organization called Creative Women Build. And they both, like, I met them both as like solopreneurs. And now they're like, like me and Tony, like doing something together, like Chanel of House of Home and Jennie of Heirloom BK. So for me, like, I want to kind of get the backstory, like, how did y'all have, these two, both like sustainable journeys, and like decide to blend together and partner to create the Sistainability Pod?
Jennie tells this story really well. And I feel bad if I keep making her talk, but she actually does tell like the sustainability story really, really well.
Yes. So how it all started was actually back in December of 2020. Chanel had reached out to me. Yeah, December 20. We're in 2021. Yeah, December 2020.
No. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. November 2020. It was like around that time where we had started the conversation, and she had told me that she was interested in starting a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, and she was like, well, I don't really know where like we want to go with it yet, but let's like kind of like circle back in January. So we had set a date for like sometime in January, and we were going to like figure out like what our podcast was going to be. We knew it was going to be around sustainability, but we hadn't like come up with a name or like an idea of like kind of how we were going to like execute this. So she basically was like, are you down for doing a podcast? Like, I don't really want to do it by myself. And I was like, well, neither do I. And just collectively, we were just like, okay, we were very intentional about the process of starting the podcast. Like, we didn't rush it. We let everything come to us like naturally. So whether it was figuring out who our guests were going to be, or what like platforms we were going to use, or what our color schemes are going to be, or who we were going to reach out to do our illustration. We didn't want to rush the process. So we were very like, we gave ourselves a good like 3-4 months to kind of like really focus on how we wanted to execute this. And then that's really how Sistainability was birthed. We literally scheduled a photo shoot with Courtney of Cocoa Made with Love, and we were like, you know, I literally went to Chanel's house. We did a photo shoot. We got our logo made by this awesome artist. I believe she's out of South Africa. We reached out to her.
Nawal. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing. And yeah, that's literally how it all came together. And then our whole like podcast is about like storytelling and sharing the journeys of other people, especially in different industries. And we mostly speak with other millennials, as well as, I don't think we've had any Gen Z yet, but yes, definitely other millennials we've spoken to. And with us being millennials, it's just a platform that we wanted to create that would be relatable to other people as well. So yeah, that's how we started. And, you know, we just want to continue to touch all industries and different people. And yeah.
That's awesome. And I wanted to share with everyone who's tuning in live that we're excited to share that Alyssa and I, so Soultry Sisters, was able to be with Sistainability Pod and collaborate recently, and that will be launching soon. So it's a really fun conversation, which sparked this conversation because we were on their podcast, we recorded with them, and then the conversation was just so juicy that we're like, we need to have another conversation. This is not enough time. So here we are now. So I just love that we can be, you know, fluid and continue because the conversation was just so great. So I'm really excited for today's conversation as well.
And I also wanted to congratulate y'all on wrapping up season 1. Like,
oh, thank you.
Congratulations. So like, to add what Tony's saying, like, yeah, we were super touched and excited to be a part of your future, like I think season 2, right? Season 2 episode. So like our hangouts are all about also celebrating and taking a moment to acknowledge how far we come, where we are in our journey. So like definitely want to give you your flowers, y'all, for like planting this seed, you know, building the Sistainability Pod around sisterhood. So we love to see it. And so we wanted to like use this time, this hour, to just be like, yeah, y'all, keep doing what you're doing. We love to see it. And we want to be in community with y'all.
Oh, thank you. You guys are amazing. I mean, and I also just love the work that you do. Like, obviously, for those that don't know, I actually am a part of their community. So I'm a part of Soultry Sisters. Like I'm like, yes, like you guys just post like such good stuff. I always get inspired whenever I don't feel like working out. Suddenly there is something to do. I'm like, oh, well, this looks fun. But no, I also just, I love sisterhood. Like I'm definitely, like I tell people all the time, like I'm a girl's girl. Like I love hanging out with like strong women. I feel like we get further together, and I'm a big believer in like collaboration over competition, like always. And just being able to like kind of immerse ourselves in this. Like I love that, you know, we're all in different places in the US right now, but we're always constantly in contact, and we're always like, you know, sending each other really cool messages or like uplifting one another. We see grants, we're sharing it with one another. Like it's just such a cool environment to be around. I think especially coming off the heels of so many years of women not being in sisterhood, for us to like really be here and be like, oh no, like this is what we do. Like, no. I don't play about my girls. I'd be like, no. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, for those watching, if you haven't seen already, down below on the ticker that keeps going is the Sistainability Pod Instagram handle. So definitely follow them, check them out. They have a lot of amazing
They
things.
have a whole season for y'all to get caught up on.
Caught up as they launch the second season. And so you both shared why you started your podcast, but we were curious on how you both feel that podcasting in that form of creativity and that platform itself, how does that intersect with sustainability for both of you?
Well, for me, I think it's really cool because it's digital, right? Like I'm not increasing the footprint that much. Like, yes, energy is still used, but it's like not like putting out a paper publication. And I feel like it's a really great way to meet people on so many different levels. Like, you know, podcasting isn't just for one generation. You know what I'm saying? Like my dad listens to podcasts, my grandma listens to podcasts, my little sister listens to podcasts, and everywhere throughout the world listens to podcasts. You know, it's one of those things where you don't have to have, you know, cable for it. You can listen in, you can tune in on your own time. And I think that's the best way to connect with people is meeting them where they're at, whether it's while you're in the shower and you listen to it or on your way to work. One of the really cool things that I loved right off the bat, like we have a lot of listeners outside of the US. So like we have listeners in France, in India, in Dominican Republic, like, you know, places where I would never be able to reach those people if I was solely focused on like doing a publication here in the US or, you know, like focusing on this particular area. And for me, like that is just, it's meeting as many people as we possibly can in the best way possible. And I feel like podcasting is it, you know, not everyone is on social media. But I feel like more people throughout the world definitely tune into things like a podcast.
I agree with everything Chanel said. That, like, you literally took the words out of my mouth. But yeah, like for us, like being able to connect with so many people, and then what that allows us to do is like learn from other people from other parts of the world and their kind of definition of what sustainability means to them. And like, I think this exchange of practices is something that's really important and like something that we can all learn from. So, you know, if somebody in India has, you know, a hack or a tip on something that they're doing there, like, why can't we also take it here? So I think podcasting also allows you to just build even a larger community than other social media platforms.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And what both of you kind of touched on is like the accessibility part of what was really at the core of why you started and the intentionality, like you mentioned before. And that's at the, like accessibility in itself is at the root of Soultry Sisters and our mission as well. And we think that's what we try to do for our community. So it's great to hear that from you all echoing that as well, especially in sustainability specific, like culture community, because you might touch on this later in your conversation with us. But sometimes in our experiences, me and Alyssa's, that sustainability community seem inaccessible because it's like you have to buy these things, you have to do these certain practices. Like if you have any type of waste, then you're not a part of this community. Or yeah, sometimes it can seem exclusive. So I appreciate you sharing how that's definitely not at the core of what you all do and how you actively kind of counter those things.
Yeah. And I also love what y'all both share is like podcasting allows the audience to choose how like to engage. Do I do it when I'm cooking, driving, like, and it's accessible because you can cross so many time zones, you know? And so I think to me like that, I love hearing how that the intention of why you chose podcasting. So.
Yes, I love it. And I would also say, just to like add to just how we've connected with other people, with the podcast and having the accessibility other places. We recently found this company, this events company in India that's focusing on like sustainable event planning. And I feel like if we didn't have this podcast, we wouldn't understand that, but we know how grand and we could see how large, you know, Indian weddings are, and their whole focus is on like making them more sustainable. So I think if we were connecting with people just on one platform or just like through Instagram or just this, we wouldn't have connected with them as well. So
oh, definitely. We relate to that because we started teaching or hosting workshops online virtually last year. And before that, we were doing all in person. So we know how event planning, all the materials you need. So definitely going virtual is a form of sustainability for the fact that it can reach others, accessible, but also you're not using so many materials. You're in your own place. And so it cuts down the cost.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Especially, when we're talking about sustainability, right? It's like, okay, like coming back to
sustainability, not only on the end of accessibility, but sustainability for the creators, for us as the creators on the other side. Like, how much work does it take to do something in person or live versus something that can be recorded, something that can be accessible virtually. So definitely we resonate with that. And with that said, talking about accessibility and onto the self being sustainable, we want to ask you and tell you, like, not tell you, but say we are all about like creating sustainable, accessible practices, and we call it like soul care. And we want to know from y'all, like, what are some of your favorite sustainability hacks and tips? It doesn't have to necessarily be tied to the podcast, but in general, like, what are some of your hacks?
Well, composting for me is like, I'm a really big composter. I love it. Like, we have dedicated a lot of space in my backyard to composting. But, like, that's big. Like, that's like something that, when I'm giving people advice, I don't tell them to start off like composting. Right. That's a lot of work like that. But an easy way to get into that, especially if you live in an apartment, like if you're in New York, is like taking your scraps and putting them in a plastic bag and sticking them in the freezer until you can go drop them off at like a community garden. Or I actually keep next to my stove a little tin can that I can just like throw compost in, and when I can get around to it, then I can go put it in the compost outside. So that way it's like I'm still doing it, but I don't have to think about it. It doesn't become a chore. It doesn't become like super hard work. It's not like I'm not overthinking it at all. And aside from that, like, really just starting small. Like, I never overcommit and underdeliver on anything when it comes to sustainability. Like, starting, I tell people all the time, like, start in one room. So like that was something for me. Like, I started in one space doing one thing, and then once that became natural, then it's like, okay, I can do this next thing because it doesn't feel as big of a feat. But yeah, like that's just my hack. Like, not just biting off more than you can chew, because that's where I feel like people with anything, whether it's a diet or anything, like when you try to go like cold turkey on something, it's like, yeah, in 2 weeks now you're like at McDonald's. So
I hear that. It sounds to me, I'm hearing a lot like it takes a lot, like just plan things, put things where it's going to make it easier for you, like accessible. Like if there's a can there, you can do it.
Right. Exactly.
You can do it. The can's there. I'm all about that.
I would say for me, when it comes to, because mainly I try to figure out a lot more sustainable practices within food. So for me, it's I create a lot of stocks. So like any sort of vegetables or things like that I have, even the peelings, like when you peel your like onions and things like that, like I save a lot of those things and then I'll make stock out of them. I didn't have a compost. I don't have a compost now. So that's like a way for me to kind of just like reuse those things instead of just like immediately throwing them out. So for me, it's like definitely creating stocks and things like that, especially as vegan and or plant-based, like that is your flavor. That's like what you use for everything. Right. Literally you can freeze your stock, you can have it forever. Like, it's just such an amazing thing to have in the kitchen. So that's something that's a hack for me. I just reuse everything. Also just for learning how to just like use all parts of plants and vegetables that I have. So like for broccoli, like I'll use the whole thing. If I make a salad, like I'll use the whole part of the broccoli. So for me, it's just like making sure that we understand food waste and understand like, you can use the whole thing. Like there's so many people that don't have food. So kind of appreciate it, and give gratitude to it and really try to utilize every part of it. So that's my focus.
Yeah. I love that. And both of what you both shared, especially how it relates back to food, resonates with me. And I don't know if it resonates with Alyssa, because we had our live a few weekends ago celebrating our 1-year vegan anniversary. And so for me, that was a big catalyst of like paying more attention to where I get my food, what I'm eating, what I'm putting in my body. Like I had sort of done that before, but definitely this is a whole other level. I feel like my eyes and everything, like my third eye opened up to like plant-based everything. And so now in my own journey, it is thinking about, composting, maybe donating that to like a community garden, because I have found one around here, and doing those things related to food, since now that has been a big part of my like sustainability and sustainability journey. So I just appreciated how you related that, that as well. And I also wanted to ask, you guys shared like sustainability hacks and tips that we can use in our daily lives, but I did want to ask if you have any like specific soul care practices that you use to sustain yourself. So not necessarily always out, but for it to fill up inside.
Yes. I believe in the word no. Like that is one of the most sustainable thing that I've probably put into practice within the last year or so. I was always the person that like, yes, I'm showing up to everything. Yes, I'm doing this, that, and third. And it's like, no, you can still support people and still be true to yourself. So it's like, I will post about your event. I might not make it there, okay? Because I'll be staying in tonight. But really just I think the biggest thing was like really learning myself and learning when I'm tired and learning, because again, as women, we can't be tired, we can't be angry, we can't be any of these things. We always have to just show up and be all these and just be great. And it's like, but that's just doing myself such a disservice. So really learning myself, I think, has been like the best soul care practice, outside of, drinking tons of water. But like really being like, no, I'm tired. I'm not going to work until 2:00 in the morning on House at Home. Like I'm going to go to bed so that way tomorrow I can be greater. Like I'm going to, take this shower and watch a movie tonight, and that's okay. Like resting is okay. And for me, I think that's like the biggest soul care practice that I'm like not giving up. Like I'm never going back. Like, like this is it.
For me, it's adding 30 minutes at least of movement a day. I realize like that has helped so much, just doing whether it's just going to the gym or doing some yoga or just even just pacing in my house for 30 minutes, like some sort of movement has been like helpful just to like kind of help me like clear my brain, or like it also helps. I go on a lot of hikes too, which like help me with like creating and like just like getting my head clear, like dumping my brain essentially. So I try to make that a priority each day, like 30 minutes, just even if it's something small, just like something I just need to do.
We love that. We are all about movement, So we hear you and we affirm that. Yes. 30 minutes of movement a day. Definitely.
It's been great. Or even I've also just like got into dry brushing.
Oh, so I love dry brushing.
Yeah. So even if I just do that, like I just need something to just.
That's movement. That's that's some work. You do the whole body. That's some work.
First of all, that's taking the whole 30 minutes. Okay. Like,
for those of you, like comment below in the chat if you dry brush and that does.
It's a workout, but you feel so good after. You're like, I'm like all tingly. It feels so good. But yeah, girl, it's a workout. Like you just think you're brushing your legs. You're like, no. This is like, I feel it in my abs.
Right. I'm like, now I'm out of breath.
And so you, Chanel, you mentioned it earlier about, having boundaries around entrepreneurship. So we wanted to ask y'all, when it comes to your passion project of the Sistainability Pod, like how are you, placing boundaries around your passion projects, and how do you navigate that delicate dance? Like, because we know how it is, me and Tony, as working as a partnership. It's different when it's on yourself, but like, how are y'all sustaining yourselves while pursuing a partnership project?
I think it really stems down to Jennie and I just being able to work really well together and not be like, we're not afraid to have a conversation. It's like, girl, this is just not the day. We were like, so do you mind if we just don't record today? Like it's just, and we because we're friends before doing any of this, like we really do take that in run with it. Like if you are not 100%, if you are not feeling this, like that's fine. We pushed back the season 2. We were just like, you know what? Like, let's just not. Like, we're not going to put that on ourselves. Like, why? Why would we do that? And I think because we respect each other really well, we just, it's like, it's really okay. Like there doesn't have to be like oh my God, like this person's gonna hate me because I did this. It's like, oh no, that's fine. Like it's like that's okay. Yeah. Oh, you don't want to do that's fine. You want to push that back?
You send that like fine. How you feel in text.
Yeah. Right, I'm like, hey, girl, how we doing today? I'm like and when it's just like we're here. Like we can always tell. Like if we're like on FaceTime, I can always tell how the conversation's gonna go.
I'm like, huh? Like what's happening? Like because we have a lot going on. It's like it's balancing everything, and we know that it's going to get out. It's like it's not going to be the end of the world if like we didn't make our October 24th or whatever deadline versus like a November 1st deadline. Like it's not going to be the end of the world. And it's okay, and it's okay. And I think like understanding that allows you to put out better work. We're not rushing it. We're not like, just going to put out anything. There's been
absolutely not.
There's been recordings that we've done that
we had to scrap some things. Okay.
We had to scratch, and that it happens. So, like just as long as we're not like being like, oh, okay, we'll give ourselves like all this grace, but we're also like, giving ourselves a limited amount.
Like I think we definitely hold ourselves accountable.
Yes,
but I really feel like we don't run this like corporate America. Like it's like that mindset. And I think that's just how we live our lives too. Like even when we talk about like work, like regular work, it's just like there are just certain things that we're just not gonna we just don't do. Like I'm just not going back to that. Like
right. I mean that's the whole point. Like that's why for me the whole point of entrepreneurship is to be my own boss. But I'm not trying to boss myself to the ground.
Right.
Cycle.
Right. So like me and Tony just nodded like this because we are right there with y'all when it comes to passion projects. Like it's gonna happen when it needs to happen. And being real with your partner is probably the best gift we can give to each other so that we can operate off of each other's energy. But there's also been times where like Tony like today like we started like a couple minutes late, but it's okay. Like it's all right. And I feel like it's important when we talk about sustainability, soulstainability, to like acknowledge the present moment and then be flexible with what is possible in this moment versus it's supposed to be, it could have been, like this is what it is.
Right.
And that's how it's going to be. So
like for me, the most important pillar in sustainability is human sustainability. Like if it does not make sense, like for the human body, like then everything else is just null and void. And I think we also, and I can say, I don't want to speak it for everyone, but I feel like all of us operate from a place like, yes, we want to make money. Like we want these things to be great, but that's not our core mission. Like that's not why we do what we do. And I feel like when you're not driven by the money, you make the best choice every time. Like because you're not operating from a place of like, well, we said we were making XYZ amount of money and like we need to get this, and it's like no.
And we see where that gets people. Like when it's driven by numbers, we see what that result is, and I'm like,
the burnout. No, thank you.
Exactly. So it's like that leads to burnout. So what you both or everyone has been sharing is like honoring yourself, honoring kind of that back of why did you even start this? I know for me and Soultry, my experience with Soultry really like reminding myself of our why we started helps like humble me and like make sure I'm prioritizing myself and whatever I need in my life. So I've heard you all share that too. So I appreciate that, especially for people listening and watching, if they are, creative entrepreneurs as well, or if they're thinking about this. I know sometimes this isn't always the conversation of like, you could be your own boss. It's like, it's going to be great, but it's like, no.
We're here.
Listen here. So I appreciate having these conversations on, sharing our real experiences and sharing tools on how we can kind of navigate that together. So I appreciate that a lot.
I think it's a great segue into our next question. We are fans of collective healing and sisterhood. I think we both in this last, the question before, talked about our connections with each other and our partnerships in creating Sistainability Pod and Soultry Sisters. And so now we want to ask you, how has collective healing and sisterhood played a role in your life? And what does that look like for you? What does the practice of sisterhood and collective healing look like?
I can go. Yeah. So for me, it's really being around like-minded people who you can lean on, and who are always there for, with Creative Women Build. I remember just being a part of this community with, all these other Black women and entrepreneurs, and just, we're talking about all these different things. We're talking about business, but we're also talking about what we're doing on the weekends, or we're talking about who's in a relationship, or we're talking about all these different things. And for me, that provided a lot of healing for me, especially during times, during the pandemic when, we were alone and by ourselves. I realized and I understood the power of just coming together, and sisterhood in general, even more than I think I've ever, kind of experience it or thought about it. And then with sustainability, me and Chanel, I can text her anytime. I can call her anytime. I can, our conversations are like-minded, and our thoughts, the way we kind of approach things are very similar as well. So it's nice for us to come together and be able to do this thing together, and kind of share this journey with other Black women and other women just in general who kind of are feeling this kind of same way about their future or life in general, or just want someone to just talk to and hang out with. So I think for me, it's just having that community and those people to lean on all the time it's something that's really special to me.
I love that.
That was so nice, Jenny. Look at you. But no, I agree. Really having a real sense of community. And again, I have to credit Creative Women Build for a lot of it. A lot of the people I speak to on a daily basis now are all from
literally
there. People that I can actually say are my real friends. Yes, I actually speak to these people. I actually know what's going on in their lives. And I feel when you're in the grind and you're in the hustle, which we all have been in, especially in corporate America or in school and things like that, you lose a lot of friends because you're going through all these years of just turmoil and all that stuff. But you spend so much time at work that you just you think that the people that you work with at work are your friends, and they very well could be. But it's a very just mishmash type of thing. So I think when I first started with Creative Women Build, my dog probably would have busted in 2 seconds. That it was the first time in a really long time that I really felt a true connection with so many people in a real genuine way. No one was there for what they could get out from me. It wasn't yes, we all had great ideas and we were able to bounce them off of each other, but I felt my cup was getting poured into just as much as I was pouring out. So I always was constantly on overflow. And then obviously meeting Jenny and becoming really good friends. People don't even know for the entire first we did not see each other for an entire year until we started planning sustainability again. So it's we met and then did not see each other for a year. But I had spoken to her every day. And even now, every time we speak, which is every day, but if we have our meeting on Tuesday, we'll spend the first 45 minutes just catching up and seeing how the other person's doing. And we'll spend 3 hours on FaceTime, legit, until Gary's okay, we have to go.
Gary's
I'm hungry, I'm ready to go. But it's genuine. It's not the standard, hey, good morning to everybody at work. It's no. How was school today? What did you make in school today? I'm super invested in everything that's going on in her life, and her family and all that good stuff. So really just having real life sisterhood, even our conversation, you guys were on our podcast, now we get to do this, and who knows what's going to happen after this. I hope this isn't the last conversation, but we get to have these real life conversations and really lean on each other, and pick each other's brains And it's not like, well, ooh, they did that, so like I don't want to tell them what I'm doing just in case. It's like, no, like I'm using this thing, and like you should use it too because it's helped me so much. And having that is just so nice. And like I would not want to live my life any other way, honestly.
Oh, both of what y'all shared is just so beautiful. So glad this is recorded. Y'all, we can just crop those and just have them their own videos. It's so special. But I resonated with what you both shared, especially talking about sisterhood, because Soultry sisters, we're about sisterhood. Yes, Alyssa and I are biological sisters, but we started this knowing that we wanted to connect with sisters as like across the board and what that means. So I think it's so special that you also, incorporated sisterhood into your partnership and collaboration and what you do together. Because I think sisterhood is just this so unique element. Like, I don't know. I just love, I have a biological sister, so maybe I just am more like enticed to appreciate like connections with women and things like that. But I think it's such a unique aspect, especially when we're business owners. Maybe we're in industries that are not like women or Black women dominated. I think having a space that's like safe. I think we all kind of said that, like, oh, having a safe space where we had other like-minded women who are doing the same things, filling us up, supporting us like mutually. I think that's what's so special about sisterhood and these different communities that we are a part of, is that it's not only like about the individual, it really is that collective healing that we're talking about. I think that's so special.
Yeah. And how our ideas and the things that we create can inspire others to then create. It's like a space of abundance. And like when you operate with collective healing and centering sisterhood, it's like what's mine is yours. Like, here, take this, use this. Oh, this worked for me. Here, it's a very sharing space. So I feel like that's what I'm hearing from y'all too. And I like couldn't agree more. And like it's not a coincidence that all of us are from CWB. And how value and like find just this interest in like, uplifting each other. And like we're here celebrating that y'all like have completed a year of your podcast, and like we love to see it. And it's important to us as Soultry sisters to, when we see people doing things that we like, to like be like, I like what you're doing, I want to put you on. Like, that's sisterhood. Like, that's my sis. They getting it. Yes. Like, the whole energy of like seeing other people's win and wanting them to win too. Like doing it together. Like, that's the collective healing. Like we all have the similar values, so there's no competition. It's all collaboration. It's all like, ashe, like I see you.
Yeah.
You see me.
A win for you is a win for me. Like, I am the biggest believer in secondhand happiness. I'm like,
sustainability, secondhand clothes,
legit, legit. Like, oh, I get so excited. Yes. I literally, like, I'm so, like, I'm so invested in what Jennie does at school. Like, I have to know, like, I go to culinary school. I'm like, you're going to tell me what's like, I'm like, Tony's graduating. Like, yes, like, this is amazing. Like, this is phenomenal. I'm like, yes, Alyssa has her own studio. If y'all don't go, I'm literally like, I tell all my friends in LA, if you ever find yourself in San Diego, like, go down there. Like, it's like, just like so nice to see. Like, even like other people, like, I just want everyone to win. Like, I just really truly want us all to win. Like, it just looks good. It looks good for all of us. Like, it looks good for Black women as a whole, and I'm here for it.
No, I remember someone told me that they were like, if we say a bunch of people climb to the top of the mountain, and he said if he got to the top first, he wouldn't have felt like he truly was successful at climbing it if he didn't see his friends to the left and the right of him. And like, I kind of carry that like with me, because I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't feel like I've reached a level of success if I didn't have like my friends or my family or other people like with me, and also being as successful in their own way or successful together, like whatever the case may be. But if we're all not at the top, then I'm like, you can't do this alone.
Yes, I totally agree. And I want to add to that. Like, I feel like correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just, you can say yes or no, or have a different perspective, but I feel like that's why maybe we as humans feel like this gravitation towards like partnership, like sisterhood, doing something with somebody else, relationships, like we're all in relationship with the earth, we're all in relationship with each other. So it's like it does make sense to want to succeed as a collective, to want to heal as a collective, because it's like it's in us. And for us to go part of it, that's the part that's like, I feel like as a society, it feels like we're kind of like questioning that and unlearning that and coming back to this, like, you win, I win, you heal, we heal, all that.
Yes, which is just so nice to see. It's just so nice to see. Like I feel like as a generation and just as a collective people right now, like it's just people are like just taking the time out to like really try to help others and really try to be there and like listen to understand instead of listening to just respond to things, and like really just getting, like, so many people are like getting back to plant-based diets, and so many people are getting back to doing things like being doulas, and just like just real life, just energy, like shifting practices, like as a whole. Like it to me is just like the best thing to, like, it just makes me so happy on so many different levels. I'm always like, yes.
Yeah, I wanted to add, because for those of you tuning in who may not know, my background is in public health, and that's exactly my perspective on like how we can improve all of our like holistic health, which for my definition is like mental, emotional, physical, but also collective, so that part of community. And there are like public health programs and different things, initiatives that are trying to, you know, incorporate those things into these health initiatives, because it's like, okay, if you're just isolated in this hospital or wherever, and you're okay maybe getting treatments, but your healing isn't really seeing an advance versus maybe someone with like that same treatment therapy, but then they have like a community, then their healing is seen kind of faster. So those studies and things like that, or stories, personal stories, have shown like just so many times, like even in our physical health, community is so important. So it's not something we just talk about like, oh yeah, I just love my sisters, you know, oh, it's just nice because we get to hang out. It's like, no, actually for our healing and our overall health, like this is necessary for us as a community to keep being healthy and to improve. I think that's what so much of both of your backgrounds kind of shed light on as well, is like trying to get back to that and sharing that with your community. So I appreciate that we all kind of have that in common as well. And I think also with the pandemic and being isolated, and even though we're all able to connect, you know, virtually, there is still that aspect of one, not being a person, but then two, the positive is like at least we have some form of connection, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important. Like some of these lessons that we're learning through, you know, these new ways of being, is that collective aspect is still so important.
Definitely.
And we want to now ask, you know, Tony was sharing how, you know, her background in public health, and a big part for us too, when we talk about sustainability, is also, you know, our intentionality of like what I'm hearing is like we're all about sharing knowledge and making sure that people have access to learning about sustainability, what that looks like for us, and making it so that people can see it for themselves. And so with that, I want to ask, are there any sustainability like initiatives or policies that you support and stand behind?
Yes. In short, there definitely are. I wish they were honestly bigger than what they are. I feel like, you know, the rest of the world is trying to catch up now in terms of being better to the planet and being sustainable. And I don't know if I can necessarily call this a policy, but one thing I'm very big on currently in life is financial sustainability. And I know like we can't be money driven. Like I don't want to be a money driven person, but financial sustainability doesn't mean I need to be Elon Musk. Like, actually, please don't give me that much money. Like, I don't want that much money. But being able to have that freedom to help others and not have to be in a survival mindset, like that for me is like the biggest thing. And that is one of the, I don't want to, again, I don't know if I can necessarily call it a policy, but something that I wish that, or that I hope they can bring back into like schools. Like I feel like that's something that needs to be taught in school. Like that needs to be a policy. Like, okay, you want to take away art, which I think is crazy, but like let's put in financial literacy. Let's teach people how to open up bank accounts. Let's teach these kids how to do their taxes. Let's teach them how to live in this society where you make us use these, you know, forms of currency and things like that. But let's like teach that. In terms of environmental, obviously like clean drinking water for people. Like I feel like that should just be a thing. Like I feel like, especially in the United States of America where we all live, there shouldn't be a single place in America that does not have clean drinking water. That just should not exist. It actually sounds like an anomaly, but it's true. So like I really do stand behind policies like that. I hope that the laws continue to change to work in that regard. And then just, you know, policies of like, again, human sustainability and the laws they have like on women's bodies, like I think is crazy. And I stand for women and having like no one should actually have the right to tell you what to do with your body. I don't think anyone should have the right to tell you what to do with your body, whether you're whatever you identify as. But you know, just like seeing on the news the other day, like that woman who got charged with manslaughter is facing 5 years because she had a miscarriage.
Right.
I'm sorry, what? You guys gave her 57 months in jail for something that she could not control. Yeah. And she's the 1200th case. So it's like, it's clearly been happening. So like, those are the policies I stand behind. Like, as a human, human rights.
Yeah. And I was just gonna touch on going back to, I know that the like American dietary guidelines are starting to shift. So they're starting to implement more like plant-based options at hospitals and prisons and other facilities. Or I know that they're working on changing, like, do you guys know the food pyramid?
Yes.
So they're working on changing that because, you know, they have like, you know, the milk industry was like, y'all ain't about to bump me off of the pyramid. But, you know, they're really telling people like now, like to drink more water versus milk, or like to stay to like the greens and like the vegetable section is becoming larger versus like the meat section. So those are policies that I've been following and seeing like how they've been changing. They're really state to state. It's really dependent on like the states to decide on like what they are, you know, going to change, whether that's even providing plant-based foods options in schools. Like that's not a thing right now. So I know there are different states that are working to bring better options to their people. And hopefully we can continue to see change in that. Because I would like, what kind of like really interests me was learning about like the prison diets. And, you know, a lot of people like are going in there and they don't have an option for like, if they are vegan, they don't have any options, you know, or just eating healthy in general. So those policies that are changing, I think, are something that is important, and we need to continue to advocate for better food, because that's honestly what's going to keep us all going.
I love how both of your answers had to do with people. You know, sustaining the person, the human, the community. And we can't forget that people who are imprisoned are people, and they deserve to be sustained. You know, so I love how you put that into the conversation, and you too, Chanel, talking about, you know, people having like rights to their bodies and sustaining themselves. So those are definitely like important. It's interesting because when Tony and I put this question, like I did not expect for y'all to answer in this way. And that's why I love interviews. I'm like, you never know how someone's gonna come with that. So I just really appreciate y'all sharing that insight.
Yeah. And I wanted to add from, the different examples that you both shared, that it's really seems like at the core is that like through sustainable policies, initiatives like these, it's to find a way to still like live in society, but to have a better life, like a better lifestyle and quality of life. versus I've heard before in other sustainable spaces, like, oh, I'm just going to live off the grid. I'm just going to make my own little farm, isolate myself and only be with me and my farm friends. But it's just like, but no, like, what if I still want to be in society?
I still want to be my people. I don't want to live in a forest.
And like, that's an option for everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's, you live in Brooklyn. Where are you going?
Yeah.
Like,
where are you going?
It's just the privilege that you have to say you just want to live off grid with your little teeny home. Like these policies that affect the society is what, let me get off my soapbox, but yes.
Yeah.
No, seriously. It's one of those things. And I think that's why a lot of Black and brown people, didn't identify with being sustainable, is because it wasn't, a lot of it wasn't to their real life
or
lifestyle,
being vegan, because they're all like, they were talking like not that I don't care about animals, but like a lot of the policies like about animals instead of like the Black and brown people who are in the factories, who are on the farms, and how they're living their lives. So I feel like it's important to acknowledge. I just feel like that's, I'm speaking for myself, like a big part of my relationship with sustainability has come from following and learning about Black and brown leaders and their attachment to it, and it's just different. And like Tony was saying, like I think it's, to me, I want to be a part of society. I want to be a part of like what makes our communities better versus like just giving. Like when people say when they want to go away, it's like it kind of has a tone of like I just gave up. Like I can't.
It's selfish. It's like, okay,
it's like escapism. Like I'm
right. It's like, I'm gonna go worry about myself. I'm gonna be over here. Y'all figure it out. I'm like, no, I'm here to help change laws and try to actually like make a difference. Like, and I feel like you have to do that from inside. Like it's like you doing it from your off the grid land in the Everglades is not really helping anyone. Okay, good for you. That's nice, but everyone else in the gutter needs help.
Right. And part of collective healing, totally is acknowledging those other folks, that how society or things might be affecting them, not just us. Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to add, when you both were saying, different initiatives to increase accessibility to like plant-based and healthier foods. I know in my city, in my state, I don't know if it's everywhere, but if you're on food assistance, you can use that at a farmer's market and some of these healthy grocery stores. So I think also those kind of initiatives is helping our community, like Black and brown communities, even say like, oh, I am able to buy whatever thing that I saw someone talk about, versus like, okay, we can talk about it all the time, but like, can they even go and purchase this? No. I think that's important too, is really just like leveling that playing field and like making everyone have access, whatever it is. And also I think for young kids, it's helpful too, to see that like, whatever their situation is and they grow up, that like they have access to this. And because then when we talk about health, and that's like, increasing their health and not having, some of these chronic conditions later in life, like starting earlier, not when it's already happening. So I think that's so important. So I appreciate everything shared, because it's so many great examples that everyone listening, definitely look into those different examples, because there's so many other things we can be doing towards that, as well. So it's nice that we can kind of all add.
Yes. I hope everyone listening kind of gets the sense of when we talk about sustainability and soulstainability, the reason why the reason why I know what Soultry Sisters, I mean, y'all can chime in too, have chose to give that word a new lens, is to acknowledge the community, to acknowledge the people, and not just the self, which I feel like for me, sustainability, like we said earlier, just didn't include many in my definition or my even perspective. So I hope people listening are taking some notes. And if you've never considered, trying being sustainable, we hope that one of our stories, there's 4 of us on here, have maybe made you think like, can I see this for myself? And with that being said, for Soultry Sisters, our motto is live vibrant and shine bright. And so lastly, we'd like to ask y'all, like, what does living vibrant and shining bright mean to you, or look like?
You go, Jennie. You've been working on your answer.
She knows you, sis. She knows you. She knows you.
So yes, I have been thinking about this. I think I told Tony earlier today, I was like, I've just been thinking about the motto and what to say as far as live bright and shine and living vibrant and shining brightly. I changed it up a little bit, but
so we love a good remix. So.
But personally, for me, it's making the change that I want to make in this world, and hopefully touching somebody to me, it's through food. So if there's some way that I can heal somebody or shift the narrative in somebody's household or their family, not making like the conversation about certain illnesses and diseases that have been running in our families and things like that, not making that the top of a conversation because they've chosen to eat better or they've decided to adopt this better way of living. So for me, it's if I can touch somebody in that way and really make a difference in that way, I feel like I am like shining bright and vibrant.
Yes. I hear it. You like lead by example. Like your life and your what you do in your everyday is what's gonna shine bright. I see it, girl.
I would say for me, it's really just helping and touching as many people as I possibly can. My friends like to joke that I'm like a Jill of all trades, and it's like, yeah, but if I can help somebody in any of those capacities, like I will. Like I actually have a post-it on my wall, and I've asked a bunch of my friends like, what's something that you want to accomplish in like the next year, and I wrote it down, and I've got like, so I've been like studying, and all these, like one of my friends wants to become like a lactation consultant, one wants to like get a drone license. I'm like, okay, great. So I've been like looking up all this stuff. I'm like, how can I help you? Like my goal is to really just like, for me, I think, living my most vibrant life and shining as bright as I possibly can is again, like in service. Like I truly am, believe that I'm just a vessel here to help serve other people. So however I can help them, like, do you need me to help you make flashcards while you study for this? Like, can I help get you with a doula who can teach you how to become a lactation consultant? Like, what can I do to help you, and who can I connect you with to help you to, get to where that is? So for me, it's never about the money. It's like showing up and pouring as much as I can to everyone else. Like, I feel like when I give, like I just get so much more back tenfold. And that's the only time I feel good. Like I naturally just am not a selfish person. And now that like, no one's perfect, like not at all, again, because I will say no one lay down, but like really like truly showing up for people. And when you do show, like that's the thing, when I do show up, I'm showing up and giving 110%. No part of my life gets 100% of it, but say I'm showing up for like at work, you're getting 30% of me, but you're getting 100% of that 30% each and every time. Like I'm going to show up and show out, and you're never going to have to question it. So for me, just being just service driven is what makes me, is what fuels me, honestly. Yeah.
I love how you termed secondhand happiness, and like all you were saying right there, I was like, yeah, she thrives with that secondhand happiness by helping your people attain their goals.
Yeah.
I love what both of you shared. And I feel like that also goes back to both of you knowing your why and your purpose, like in general, like on earth, when like, what your mind, body, spirit wants and what your path is. And I feel like that really does shines bright with each of you, even in just this conversation. Yeah. So I find that very like warming to know, like, oh, this is nice to hear these words. I'm like, exactly. Oh, I see it in both of you.
I want to echo too, because Tony made me think too, what both of y'all said in your answers about living vibrant and shine bright. Like if I were to wrap it in a bow, it's like, how you want to give. You both know how you want to share. And that's living vibrant and shine bright, is knowing how you want to show up and how you plan to give back. And so it's so beautiful to hear like about you, Jennie, being in culinary school and wanting to do that. Chanel, like also with like House of Home, like helping people to like envision how they want their what is it called, sanctuary to look like, inspiring people to like get comfy in their own, not only in their own bodies, but their own like spaces. So I think those are it's really important to acknowledge like everything that we do in our lives is helping us live vibrant, shine bright, and how we string them together is our story. And like I think we're all multi hyphenate in this lives. Like, sometimes we be like, I do this, but I do this. Like, you do all these things because it aligns us.
Exactly.
Like, you got 7 chakras, you could have 7 different things you do. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It connects you. It connects us. And so I feel like it's important for us to take this time, like as we, close out this hangout, to acknowledge that every part of us, every being of us is meant to inform and embody the work that we do within our 2 platforms. And so it's so nice to hear like women of different backgrounds that are doing different things, but we all want the same. Like we have different ways of going there, but the vision is the same, of having this collective community of healed people, of people who are willing to look outside themselves. And so I feel just very grateful. I'm talking a lot, but I'm just like, y'all, this is very special to like have a space where we're different, but we're all here for the same reason.
Yes. It really is. It's like one of those, like, we've been on here for an hour and 5 minutes. It's like, but I don't feel drained. Like, I feel like, again, like this is like filled my cup, and I'm like so excited now to like go do something tomorrow and go help someone like do something tomorrow. Like, I'm like super pumped. So thank you.
Exactly. And I'm so excited. Oh, Jennie, are you talking? I think there was a delay.
Am I here?
Okay, yes. Sorry, I think there was a lag.
Okay, sorry.
But I was going to share that, I'm also so grateful for this conversation, like just being in community and sisterhood with you for this hour and some change has been amazing. And for those of you tuning in or catching the replay, like even just watching this or just being in this conversation is a part of that healing, is a part of being in community for our collective well-being. So even if this is all you can do for your sustainability journey, for those tuning in, that's okay. We all start in different areas and aspects, and that's okay. There's not like, oh, now you need to do all these 7,000 things we shared in this conversation. It's just, shed light on those options. Because Alyssa and I also like to share that, like, we share our journeys and what we do works for us, but we know that might not work for everyone. So that's why we love having, you both come on to share more like ideas of what people can potentially add into their days. But thank you both for taking the time to be with us in our community. If you all tuning in have not already, go follow Sistainability Podcast on Instagram, check out their website, and definitely go listen to their first season for their podcast. And so we did, before we close out, we wanted to open it up to both of you if you want to share, what some exciting news or upcoming things in your community that you want to share.
Definitely. Well, season 2 launches in a week. So November 1st. And our first episode guests are the Soultry sisters. So you guys are our first episode. So that's super cool. What else do we have happening, Jennie? I have no idea.
We have we have our IG lives also. We have our sustainability in session on Wednesdays. So in November, it's really exciting. We're going to be highlighting different sides. We're going to be cooking actually in the month of November. So we're going to be talking about different plant-based Thanksgiving sides that you can make for the holidays. So we're really excited for that. So that will be on Wednesdays. And then with the holidays coming up, we have some other surprises that we are still in the works, but yes. And follow us. We'll keep all updated.
I'm definitely going to be following that because we did our first like plant-based Thanksgiving, and we would love some more recipes. So we will be tuning in.
Yeah,
excited for that. Yeah, it's going to be on IG Live. So make sure you follow them at Sustainability Pod and hit the notifications button, hit the bell, so you will not miss it.
Yes. So thank you both again for this wonderful conversation. This was so great. I also feel like my cup is filled. So this was awesome. And we can't wait to our next time we get to connect with you both. This is awesome. And have a restful rest of your night and week.
Thank
you.
You
too. Thank you,
too, ladies.
Those of you who are tuning in. We'll see y'all soon. Bye.